Greetings, family. Let's have a very tough conversation today. Let's talk about the financial implications of depression. And there's no better way to talk about that than to talk about my own struggles with depression. In a very specific instance, I want to take you back to 2013, where I was doing financial planning at the time. I wrote my book. I was doing tours. Things were going pretty well. I got an offer to do a request for a proposal for the National Basketball Association. So let me tell you something. This was my dream job. This is my dream job. I've been playing basketball all my life. I love basketball. I was a varsity hooper through high school. I was too short to go to college with it, but it was, I've always loved basketball. I love the sport. I love everything about it. For them to offer me this opportunity to teach financial education, financial literacy to the players of the league was just, man, it was my dream job. So I poured everything into this request for a proposal. And long story short, we put together the best proposal. I'm talking about I had a team of individuals, and we put together such a strong proposal. And when we presented it, we knocked it out of the park. It was one of those presentations that was just unbelievable. And I'll tell you, we won the request for proposal. They said, we choose you. So you can't imagine how excited I was, how happy we were that we were selected to teach financial education. But David Stern, rest his soul, basically said that our company was not big enough. And they didn't choose a second person. They ended up choosing another consulting firm. And that consulting firm, who didn't even submit an RFP, request for proposal, they put together a check-the-box type program that to this day, I'm sure, and I've talked to folks, it's not even really being utilized. But and the union of the basketball players, the National Basketball Players Association, fought for me, and shout out to them, man. They really went to bat, but it crushed me. It crushed me. I'd put everything into that proposal, and that was my dream job. And to actually receive that you were the best, you were the one that selected, for them to say that no, it's not happening because of politics or whatever it may be, it crushed me. And I gotta tell you, to be very honest, I would say for the next close to 3 weeks, it was hard to even get out of the bed. And I felt something in that level of depression that I wouldn't wish on anybody. It was paralyzing. It was, I was watching Steve Wilkos and Jerry Springer and every other television show that I've never seen in the middle of the day. Usually I'm watching the news because I've worked from home. I've worked from home for a long time. But if I did anything beside getting up and going to the bathroom, it was a success. So it took about 3 weeks of just sitting there and just, man, it was the most paralyzing feeling of your life. I'm talking. But slowly, I tried to do some things to get out of that depression. And so I figured what I wanted to talk about today was talk about just some of the things. Some of the things are some additional tips I wanted to throw in, but then some of the things are some things I actually do to get out of that, because the financial implications of depression are you're not making money. How can you make money laying in the bed watching Steve Wilkos? It's not possible. How are you making money watching Jerry Springer in the middle of the day? Not doing work, not being productive. You can't. It's not going to happen. So the financial impacts of depression in terms of the overall slowing down of productivity is very real, and I am a testament of that. I'm a testament of that. So today I want to talk about 10 steps to hopefully that might help you deal with depression if you are going through it yourself. And I'm going to say this on the front end. If you're going through depression, please feel free to reach out to me. I had an individual conversation that actually inspired this very video because we talked for about an hour, and they were part of Metro MPI, a part of the MPI family. I'm not going to reveal the information, but what a real candid story. Thank you for being so transparent. So I'm going to be transparent with you, and let's talk about 10 steps on how to deal with depression. You ready? Let's get it going. Step 1, I had to write down a budget. Creating a budget helped me to see and put on paper my actual financial situation, how much money was coming in, how much money I needed to have to to make my goals come to fruition. When I wrote down my budget, I eventually started writing down my goals again to see what are my short-term and long-term goals. I wrote down a 1-year budget. I remember writing it down from the bed. Remember I told you I wasn't getting up, so I literally was in bed writing out a budget. And I'm old school, so I was using a laptop and I used Excel and I used a notebook and I was writing out. I remember, but when I saw it on paper, it started to slowly get my mindset turning around from what had happened to me to what needs to happen in terms of getting my productivity going. So create a budget. Number 2, set small goals and celebrate them. Let me tell you how bad I was. It was so bad in that place. I'll tell you a small goal that I set, okay? One example of a small goal was changing the toilet paper, the roll of toilet paper, and not just leaving it on the bathroom, because it was small things like that. Or another small goal I set was, I'm a bachelor, so I didn't use a lot of dishes, but wash the spoon in the sink, right? I was only one spoon in there, but wash the spoon. It was literally, it sounds stupid, but it was those types of small things, or take a shower and change the toilet paper and wash the spoon. If I did that in one day, oh man. But then when I set the small goal, I celebrated that goal. Because it's just me going through depression. You're trying to get out of it. Find small things, small achievable things to celebrate. And eventually went from changing the toilet paper roll and washing the spoon to writing out a to-do list. And that I remember the day when I wrote out that to-do list. I remember writing down, send out 3 emails, okay, to somebody, that has a potential for business. And so I wrote that down on my to-do list. And I remember when I completed it, it wasn't just the toilet paper, the spoon. Now I'm sending out emails. And then slowly, and then I took some time to really celebrate that I changed the toilet paper roll. Yes, I washed the spoon in the sink. Yes, I sent out those 3 emails. I started to feel myself get more motivated. So eventually I was laying down, sending out the emails. Now I'm sitting up in the bed, laying down in the bed. Now I'm sitting up in the bed, sending out the emails. And now the to-do list starts to get longer and longer, because normally, if people see my to-do list today, I have a short-term, long-term. That to-do list is always lengthy. And it's always a challenge for me every single day to try to get through it. Back then, not so much. Because again, I was very short, but it started to grow and become longer as my confidence started to go. So set small goals for yourself. Another tip is automate payments. I didn't have to do this. My payments have been automated for a long time, but automating payments allows you to continue to financially contribute to the goals that you deem to be successful when you're not in the mindset to be able to do so on your own. Number 4, seek support. This is something that I did not do. I should have done more of it. Really, the only person who probably understood the gravity of what I was going through was my mother. And my mom, she used to call and check on me, and she would ask me if I needed anything. Of course, me being hard-headed and stubborn and overly independent, I would say, no, I don't. But she knew what I was going through, and she knew the gravity in which I wanted it to be successful in that particular deal. And so she would be there as my support network. So thank God for her. But no one else really understood what I was dealing with and going through. And I have to take accountability for that. And I should have been more forthright in seeking out support from additional individuals who might have been able to share in their experience and what they're going through, which is why I want to reiterate again, and I will multiple times throughout this video, if you're going through that, if I can't do anything else for you, but please reach out. Let's talk about it. Seek some support. Number 5, limit spending triggers. Wasn't necessarily a problem for me because I'm always pretty cheap, but there might be some of you out there that might have spending triggers where you might have situations or emotions that might cause you to spend excessive amounts of money. Or if you're going through depression, you're dealing with hard times, and all of a sudden you come across an environment where you become emotional and you start to spend without thought, or you go on social media, or you're playing a game and there's certain things, elements about that game or on social media that causes you to want to spend, but because you're going through depression, you start spending extra money. So try to avoid or limit the situations or emotions that cause you to spend excessively without thinking, especially going through tough times like depression. Number 6, use financial apps. I use a couple apps every once in a while, but I do know a lot of folks that do use apps. And because apps help individuals see the bigger picture, if you're going through depression, it might help you to focus more effectively on exactly your current financial situation and what you have to spend and what you need to spend, and help organize your spending. So if apps are for you, by all means, let them help you get through that hard time. Number 7, focus on essentials: food, housing, healthcare. Certain things that you need. Again, this is definitely a time going through depression, focusing on wants versus needs. What do you need? Cutting all the non-essential spending. Remember, if you're going through depression, your productivity is going to be lower. So you don't want to be wasting money on things where all of a sudden your budget's blown, and because your productivity has decreased, you are now behind, having to get into excessive debt. Number 8, explore financial assistance. This is where I can help. Again, please reach out to me if you need any additional assistance, whether it be working through your budget or recommending or suggesting some charities or government agencies in your area that can assist you in going through your particular time. Many things might cause depression. It could be where I do a lot of workshops for individuals who have gone through a disaster, it can be a very depressing time. But then based upon your situation and what has caused your economic situation, there might be a government agency or a charity or other local resource that can assist you in your particular situation specifically. So reach out to me. Let's do some research and see if we can get you some additional assistance for your particular situation. Number 9, practice self-care. That's one thing I do nowadays a lot, and I make sure I continue to do it, whether it be reading my Bible, whether it be working out at the gym, whether it is listening to music and trying to go out and having a fun time and like listen to a good song on the radio, whatever it might be, I try to find ways. And actually, truthfully, this right here, for me, this is also self-care. Sharing my story, connecting with you, and oh man, if you call me and say, I just got a call from one of you a few minutes ago before I started this video saying, hey, my line of credit just extended. Oh, good news, man. That's my self-care. So whatever you have to do to get your mind right, to focus on making better financial decisions, please do that, especially during times of depression. Number 10, educate yourself. Read about finances. When you're dealing with depression, the more you know, the less anxious you are. And there's a lot of times, especially if you're going through depression, where individuals are not necessarily savvy about finances, that problems seem bigger than what they are. So when you educate yourself, when you learn, when you study, when you read different books, please let me know of different books you'd like to read. I have tons of them. I have tons of suggestions. I'm an avid reader, and especially when it comes to financial education books, I like to see what different authors have to say. I have tons of suggestions. So let me know if you like some book suggestions or any other suggestions about educational tools that might be able to empower you and get you through that hard time. So there it is. Those are my 10 steps on how to get through depression. I will say there was a positive story ending to the story. No, the MBA did not choose my request for proposal, but the model, the blended learning ecosystem model that we created for the MBA became the core of Main Street, of my business. The same way that I teach you all and the same way I teach any organization came from that failure. So, again, it had to take me going through that to get to the other side to realize that the learning process and working out a business model that could be effective at teaching a massive amounts of people. And when we've taught for $11.99 SEIU, 500,000 members they have, only came because we created a model for the NBA. And that's my dream, is how do we teach and impact more people? And I'm not saying that to brag about myself. I'm saying that to say that on the other side of your blood, your sweat, your tears, and your heartache, there's somebody waiting on you to bless them. And we're all created for the same purpose in this world, and that is to make this world a better place. How we go about doing it is different. We all have different skills, talents, and hobbies. And so there's something that is inside of you that God has put inside of you and only you that no one else has. So for you to quit, for you to say that you're no longer going to try to give to this earth what God has given you and only you, is the epitome of selfishness. So quitting is not just quitting on you. Quitting is robbing people like myself and everybody else of the unique blessing that you're going to provide to this earth. So don't let depression bring you down. Don't let depression be the reason that you don't get out of bed and try and make this world a better place in a way that only you know how to do. If I can help, if I can be there for you in this process, please give me a call, give me an email. Thank you for listening to my rant. This is one of the longer ranting videos. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit. It was therapeutic for me to say it. Talk to you soon. Peace.